Antonio Margarito, also known as Tony or the Express Train, was 5'11" with a 73-inch reach, having 47 fights with 38 wins, 27 by knockout. Antonio Margarito was known as a banger. He would fight on the inside, mauling, getting stronger with every single round. His activity wore his opponents down until finally they succumbed to his intense pressure and his intense activity and will. Antonio Margarito began his career back in 1994 in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, against Jose Trujillo, who he went to a unanimous decision win against. Even though he lost a number of fights, this man, who was a bona fide welterweight, moved up in the ranks until finally, June 16th of 2000, he faced David Camo for the WBO NABO welterweight title. He would go on to defeat him, knocking him out in the second round. He would then face Frankie Randall, December 10th, 2000. Unlike other opponents, Frankie Randall was a very skilled former world champion. He was able to retire him in the fourth round of that fight. Even more impressive was the fact that Antonio Margarito had not faced that level of competition in his career. In 2001, July 21st, he faced Daniel Santos for the WBO World Welterweight title, but because of an accidental headbutt over Margarito's eye, the fight was ruled a no contest. He would go on to win the vacant WBO World Welterweight title from Antonio Diaz, March 16, 2002, knocking out Diaz in the 10th round of a 12-rounder. He would go on to defend his title for 2 years and then move up to super welterweight to face Daniel Santos, September 11, 2004. He would lose to Daniel Santos by a technical decision after his right eyebrow was cut by an accidental headbutt and they went to the scorecards. He would move back down to welterweight and fight and defend his title against Sebastian Andres Lujan, who he knocked out in round 10. He then went on in 2005 to face Kermit Cintron, April 25th, Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. In that fight, he was able to knock out Kermit Cintron in the 5th round. He would rematch Kermit Cintron a few years later and still defeat him, knocking him out in the 6th round with a body shot. He would defend his title against Joshua Clottey, December 2nd, 2006. In that to-and-fro fight in which Clottey's right hand was injured, he got away with a unanimous decision against Joshua Clottey and moved on to face up-and-coming contender, undefeated Paul Williams, July 14th, 2007. In that fight, Paul Williams fought him from the outside, landing shots, moving in and out on Margarito. The Train got his momentum late in the fight, but by then, Paul Williams had pulled away with the victory. He would go on to face and vie for the World Welterweight title yet again against Kermit Cintron, this time for the IBF belt. He defeated Kermit Cintron, as we already know, by a body shot to regain the IBF World Welterweight title. He would disband it and go after the WBA World Welterweight title against Miguel Cotto, July 26, 2008. In that to-and-fro fight against Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito prevailed. Demolishing Miguel Cotto and destroying his face. The fight had to be stopped in the 11th round after Miguel Cotto suffered horrible damages from Antonio Margarito. On ascending into world spectrum with his greatest win against Miguel Cotto, he was able to face Shane Mosley, January 24, 2009. In the build-up to that fight, on fight day, Shane Mosley's trainer discovered that Antonio Margarito wore loaded gloves. He was using plaster of Paris in his wraps. On finding out that Antonio Margarito had been cheating, this was reported to the commission, and Antonio Margarito went into the fight against Shane Mosley. In the later rounds of round 8 and round 9, Mosley caught Margarito and dropped him in round 8, and then finished him off in spectacular fashion in round 9. Margarito would go on to face Roberto Garcia May 8, 2010. He would vie for the vacant WBC International Super Welterweight title, defeating Roberto Garcia by unanimous decision. Hard-hitting Roberto Garcia was known for exciting fights, and in Mexico, that fight was a barber. Having faced Roberto Garcia and done so well, he then went on to face Manny Pacquiao for the vacant WBC World Super Welterweight title. Manny Pacquiao was much smaller than Antonio Margarito, and it was expected to be a one-sided battle in which the bigger Antonio Margarito would demolish Manny Pacquiao. The fight was at a catch weight of 150 pounds, but instead, Manny Pacquiao fought bravely against Antonio Margarito, coming on strong in the early rounds, and as Margarito warmed up, his performance was better against Pacquiao, being able to catch him at times and bang to the body and to the head. But Pacquiao was able to withstand his punches and even return punches, though Pacquiao never really stayed in front of Margarito, but boxed him, staying on the outside, as did Paul Williams and Shane Mosley. Once outboxed, Antonio Margarito became target practice, and Pacquiao demolished his right eye socket, having after the fight to go to surgery. Manny Pacquiao had a unanimous decision win over Antonio Margarito. On being defeated by Manny Pacquiao, Margarito faced Miguel Cotto, who this time, in a fair playing field, demolished Antonio Margarito, and the doctor having to stop the fight. Antonio Margarito's career will be known for his hard work. Like an express train, he kept coming. He was tough, he could take punches, and he could take punishment. Of all of the opponents of Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito probably was the one that hit the hardest, being the biggest. And he will be known for that thrilling performance he had with Manny Pacquiao. You guys have a great day.